Yeah, sure. I'm an English teacher with 13 years of experience. I started teaching since 2013. Oh no, 2012. Alright, so this is my 13th year. So currently I'm teaching in SFK Georgetown and the head of English panel in my school. And throughout my 13 years of service, I've been teaching Form 4 and Form 5, but occasionally Form 3 years. Alright.
Good afternoon, Miss. Thank you for giving us your time today. We are students from MFCU College Penang. Today we will be working on project that subject Sociology of Education. And that focus on students' English language teaching in secondary school. And we would like to ask some few questions based on your experience.
Right, sure.
First question is, how will you describe your students' overall command of the English language?
I would say that the command of English for my students now in my secondary school, they are quite mixed. Some are proficient and some are actually quite weak. So I would say that the proficient one would be the minority in the school, because I would say that the social background and their family background doesn't really encourage them to use English in their daily lives. So actually that really affects on their proficiency level.
Thanks for your explanation. And now I will move on to the second question. The second question is, do you think students are confident when speaking English in class? Why or why not?
Definitely no. Okay, the confidence level actually depends greatly on their personal proficiency level. Okay, so if they think that they are not really proficient or that is not their first language, even until now, if you want to say that I'm really confident in speaking English, actually, I'm a little bit nervous every time. So what more like my students, right? So my students, one thing, their confidence level is not there because they don't use it daily. Secondly, they think that their proficiency level is not there. So when their proficiency level is not there, they are very worried that if they actually speak the language, they would actually be laughed by their peers. Yeah, they are afraid to make mistakes. So the confidence level, not really. Yeah.
That's a good explanation. Then, I move to the third question is, in your observation, which skills do students struggle with the most? Speaking, writing, reading, or listening?
Okay, so based on these four skills, I would say the biggest challenge would be in speaking and writing, because it relies heavily on their command of the language, the grammar, as well as the vocabulary. So majority of them face problem with the vocabulary because they actually have the idea, they might understand the question, but they are lacking the words to actually say out their ideas. Yes. So it would project in their speaking as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss, for your wonderful explanation. And next I'll pass over to the next speaker.
Okay. Alright.
So hi Miss, I'm Vicky and I'll be asking the next three questions. So as the program that you mentioned to Niva, can I know how effective has it been?
The program has been effective in actually instilling the awareness in students to actually use the language, because without all this program, they would not remember to actually use the language outside of an English classroom. Right. So with all these programs, actually we encourage them to speak more in English, especially when these programs are in the form of competition. So there are prizes given, there are recognition given, so students are more actually encouraged to actually use the language.
And are there any collaboration with external university institutions?
Exactly. Actually, external, the nearest or the latest example that I can think of is actually the collaboration with PMP, Penang Math Platform. So you would say that, how on earth is math platform having anything to do with English, right? Yeah. So it's actually a very interesting thingy. It is actually a junior debater workshop. So junior debater workshop, students are there to actually learn the debating skill, but at the same time, they will learn how to evaluate their peers. So they are judging people from the points that they are giving, from the elaborations, from how they bring back points, and how they build up their statements. So I'm actually quite surprised, but very pleasantly surprised by this kind of collaboration. So our school is actually sent, I think the most students who joined the workshop, and then the students came back feeling very beneficial.
That sounds wonderful. And are you the only English teacher in the school?
Oh no, definitely not. I am the head of panel of my school, and under my panel I have 3 other English teachers. So altogether there are 4 of us.
And how do the teachers work together to support students with needs?
Okay, so with teachers in our panel, actually, in fact, regardless of what subject it is, we have this thing called PLC. PLC stands for Peer Learning Community. So in this peer learning community, what we will do is we will sit together at least 4 times a year to actually discuss about our students' results, and then discuss about what are the problems that we face in classroom, and then together as a team, when we see all these problems, how would we actually handle the problem? Because in the panel, there are senior teachers, there are also junior teachers. So especially when junior teachers, they don't know how to handle certain problems, we senior teachers will give our advice to actually help the junior teachers. And at the same time, every year we have different batches of students, so they will face different problems. So what we do is, every time after their examination, for example, after their midterm examination, we will look at their result, analyze their result, and see where is their weakness, and we will do targeted intervention plan. So with that targeted intervention plan, we actually able to help the students target on the parts where they lose their marks, and hopefully by the end of the year examination, they will have significant improvements.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Alright.
I'm Raj here. So let's move on to the next question. So do students use English outside school?
That depends actually. So if you want to say that they use English formally as a tool for their communication, I would say it is not to say rare, but they don't have much chances to actually use that. But I believe that they would use English when they are on social media or when they are playing games, but not so much of communication.
So let's move on to the next question. So what do you think are the 2 main reasons some students face difficulties learning English?
Okay, so I think the main reason would be like I mentioned, confidence level is not there, right? Because the proficiency is not they're not really confident of their proficiency level yet. And second one, I would think that it is the lack of exposure actually. Lack of exposure as in their daily environment doesn't really give them the chance to actually use the language daily. And if come to their personal choice, I think if they would choose any medium for their entertainment, English would not be the first choice as well. So when these 2 factors adding up together, I think that would be a very great challenge for students nowadays to actually use English, because if you don't use it often, if you don't listen it often, if you don't speak it often, it will greatly affect your proficiency. Yeah.
That's really a good point for you. So the last question for me, which is, do students' family background affect their English proficiency?
Definitely. Alright, so their family background, as I said, if you don't have the exposure. So if you don't have the exposure, I wouldn't say that I blame on parents, but sometimes, a family's mother tongue actually affects a lot. So mother tongue, that comes naturally, especially when you are in a natural everyday conversation. So if you don't use English that much in your daily lives, in your family, I think that would actually affect the students' willingness to actually and the confidence to actually use the language. Because I think in Malaysian setting, English is more like, people say that English is a second language, but for me in Malaysia it's more like a foreign language. Yeah. So very, very rarely that you would see a family that will use English as the first language. Yeah. So family background, that's really... Okay. Alright.
My question is, what more do you think the school could do to help students improve their English?
Okay. I would say that the school can actually create a more immersive environment. Like what I mentioned just now, we have this HIT program. So actually schools can do extra programs to actually like help to encourage the students to speak the language. So actually my school actually did this extra thing. We actually have an English day every Friday. So what we can do during English day is all the morning assembly and all the announcement on that English day is done in English. So everybody in the school has to use English, even the canteen operator, even the school administrator. When they want to give any announcement, when they want to give any speech, it must be done in English. Yeah. So that is what it's to do. Yeah.
My next question. What goes to French say separate?
Okay, parents, I think they actually play a big role. Okay, so even as simple as the words of encouragement. Okay, words of encouragement where the kids are speaking in English and they say it well done, or they accompany their children to actually speak in the language, or even buying them English books, English materials, watching movies with them, listening to English songs with them. That would help a lot. Yeah.
My last question. Do you have any personal teaching tactics or advice that has helped your students become more confident in using English?
I always believe that English class should be fun. It would never be a boring lesson. It is not something that you will need to memorize anything. It is for you to just enjoy yourself, chill, and have fun. Because that is the time where you really have, you really truly immerse yourself in the language and you just enjoy the moment. That is actually when you learn the most. Right? Okay, thank you.
So my question is, how does that local slang affect students?
Okay, I actually think that local slang would affect them more in their speaking, because we are so used of using Malaysian kind of English, like adding the la, the law at the back of our sentence, but actually that gives us the identity, actually. Like when you use that kind of English, you would quickly identify the person as, oh, you're a Malaysian speaker. Okay? But I think instead of local slang, I think the thing that actually affects our students or everybody the most is actually the slang on the internet. Like the typing language, for example, like let's say the simplest thing, I, you, the R. So you short form it. So actually that one greatly impacts on writing actually. Right? Okay.
The next question is, do you think motivation and attitude play a role in how well students learn?
Absolutely. So confidence, as I mentioned. Another one is attitude. Attitude, yes. Learning attitude must be there. So I wouldn't say that everybody is born proficient. Like just now, the questions previously mentioned about family background affecting the proficiency level and whatnot. So if you don't have that kind of exposure earlier days, but if you are willing to learn, your learning attitude is there, it will definitely help you. Because nobody, I don't think anybody in Malaysia out there, I don't think everybody, 90% of Malaysians, because they are not native, we are not native. So even me, I begin as English as a second language. So I'm willing to learn, I'm interested in the subject, therefore I pay more effort to actually improve myself. And that makes me who I am today.
Thank you. So my last question is, has the school introduced any programs or activities to improve students' skills? Yes. What are the activities? If no, why not?
Okay, so actually schools, not just our fine schools, actually our kementerian, okay, our ministry, we actually have this program called HIP program. HIP stands for Highly Immersive Program. So highly immersive, meaning that we are trying to get students to immerse in the language, use the language by conducting different activities, competitions to actually encourage and instill the interest in students to actually use the language more in their daily lives. Yeah. So my school, actually all the schools, we are in this program, and we actually conduct many activities under this program. So let's give a few examples. So I think just last few weeks we have this podcast Podcast Pro program under highly immersive program. So Podcast Pro meaning every morning we will have one student using the 5 minutes before the morning assembly. We actually talk about something. Yeah, talk about a certain topic. So we will
And go.
Thank you for your time, Maurice. We learned many things from this interview. And... Alright, thank you. Okay.